Hey babe, I almost lost a full day's work. But before we get to that, I would like to share a story that started yesterday and ended this morning. So, yesterday, I'm just going on Facebook, check my notifications, and see that someone replied to a comment that I left on a friend's post like 3 weeks ago. I'm like, okay, I wonder what that is. So I click on it, read it, and turns out it's my friend's boyfriend who pretty much, okay, before I'm just gonna explain the post. I forget exactly what it was, but it started with something along the lines of maybe I'm weird or call me weird, but, and then the rest of the post. And me as a joke, I'm like, okay, you're weird. Happy now? Laughing face. It's like, obviously, I'm making a joke. But apparently, her boyfriend didn't think it was funny. And 3 weeks later, decides to go on the post and respond by saying, you're the weird one. Stay away from my girl, Sove. I'm like, okay, so basically, he just threatened me publicly on Facebook. So my first reaction is, okay, how do I respond to this? I could totally ignore it. That would probably be the smart thing to do. But I don't like being called out in public for something I didn't do. So I'm like, okay, how can I respect my friend and not cause any trouble for her, but still not get like let this guy get away with attempted intimidation? So I'm like, all right, let's keep it somewhat low key. So I responded, online intimidation, really? And anyway, I forget exactly. Something along those lines. Oh yeah, and then okay, online intimidation, really? Very mature with like a eye rolling face. So I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. It was like late last night, so I go to bed. And this morning I wake up expecting a response. Instead of it, I get a message from my friend saying like, hey, sorry about that. I went ahead, deleted the comments. I'm sorry that happened. I spoke to him. Everything's been cleared up. And pretty much like everything was fine. I'm like, okay, do you want me to avoid posting on your future comments out of respect for you? Not for him, because I completely disagree with what he did. And I do not want to condone that, but out of respect for you, I can avoid that. She's like, yes, please do that. So, anyway, that was the first story. So, basically, this was the first time that I ever got publicly threatened on Facebook. So, I guess that's something I knock off my bucket list, or rather, add to my bucket list, and then check off my bucket list. Okay, back to how I almost lost an entire day's work. So I've been writing most of the day, and I decide, you know what, it's time for me to take a little break. But before I take a break, I decide let's insert the drop cap for the start of the next chapter. That way I can come back, everything's ready, I can just start writing. For some reason, I'm not able to do that. So I'm like, okay, there's a glitch. Let's just close Microsoft Word, reopen Microsoft Word, and cool, everything's back to normal. I can insert drop caps. So I go ahead and I'm like, wait, I can't find the chapter that I just wrote. In fact, I can't find the last 4 chapters that I just wrote. So basically, all the work that I just did today is completely gone. So I begin to panic, even though I'm like, no, don't panic. Everything's fine. This is not supposed to happen, because a new version of Word automatically saves and backs up everything to OneDrive as long as you have it, and I do. So this sort of thing shouldn't be possible. So I'm like, okay, this has to be some sort of glitch. Don't panic. Close Word, reopen it, and it doesn't work. I'm like, crap. Okay, close Word, go to my documents, and open it from there. Hopefully that's gonna work. So as I do that, I'm like holding my breath, my heart is racing. I'm just like, please don't be gone, please don't be gone. I click on it, and okay, everything's back. I didn't lose anything. But in those few moments where I was convinced that I lost everything, I was like, really? I'm doing this very difficult challenge, and on top of that, I lose an entire day's work? What the hell? But once everything's fine, everything's back, the glitch is gone, didn't lose anything, I find myself being so grateful and so relieved that I didn't lose all that work. Which is funny, because a few minutes before, I'm like, yeah, okay, I did this work, whatever, I didn't hit my word count quite yet for the day, still need to do work, the book is nowhere near done. But that just changes the second that I nearly lose everything. I'm like, I'm so grateful for every single word that I wrote today. And it's kind of fun to have that shift in perspective. I'm still kind of calming down from this, because it would have been so ironic, but also very frustrating if I lost everything I did today, then got to the end of the challenge and ended up not being able to finish the book and missing like 5,000 words, the equivalent of what I wrote today. That would have been so annoying. So I'm really, really glad that didn't happen. All right, those were my 2 stories for the day. Hopefully your day, wherever you're watching this, is better than mine. I'm going to check back in with you later.